What's going on, everybody? Welcome. This is Joe McCall, the Real Estate Investing Mastery Podcast. And I love doing this episode because we're going to be talking about data. We're going to be talking about software and tools and how you can use Propstream specifically for growing your real estate investing business. And this Propstream is huge. When it came out and they contacted me, well, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I was skeptical. I was like, nah, I don't know, right? Then I started digging into it and I was like, oh my gosh, there's nothing else like this right now out there. And there's a lot of other companies that provide data and they're good, but there is something special about Propstream. And we're going to be talking about Propstream with a good friend of mine and a guest from the company, Burton. We'll be talking about Propstream, some of the new things that they've been introducing that are the cool features that I really, really love. And one of them that I'm most excited about is called List Automator. So we're going to be talking all things Propstream. Everything I love about Propstream, we're going to be talking about that here in this podcast. All right. So we're going to bring on Burton Alicando. Burton, how are you, man? I think you're muted. There you are.
I'm very well, Joe. Thank you so much for having me. And everybody watching, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
I love it, guys. Hey, listen, we are live right now. We'll be releasing this later as an audio podcast at Real Estate Investing Mastery. But if you're watching this on YouTube and you've got any questions, even Facebook, if you type them in the comments right now, we'll be able to pull them up and share and ask them to Burton and get some of his feedback. So again, Burton, welcome. Glad you're here. I want to get right to the point. One of the things I love about Propstream is the huge amount of data that it has. And I'm able to look up any property anywhere in the country and get a tremendous amount of data on it, like when it was sold, what the mortgages are on it, who owns it. All of the tax data, also from the county records, but also the mortgage data that's on the house. And one of the coolest things that I've been doing lately is I've been pulling lists of older properties on Redfin. In other words, I've been pulling properties that have been on the MLS for over 30 days, over 60 days from Redfin, and I've downloaded them into a spreadsheet, and I've uploaded it into Propstream using the List Automator tool. And Propstream will give back to me all of the data. It'll append the data to that list of all of the properties. I'll get the names of the owners, the address of the owners, and I can pull out which one of those properties, and usually it's 35 to 50% of those properties will be free and clear. There's no mortgage on them. And so I can send special marketing to the owners and to the realtors of those older listings because I was able to pull that data out of Propstream. So I'm excited about Propstream. I'm a huge fan, and I've been talking about it for years and years. And I'm proud to say I'm one of the first guys to promote Propstream as well. There's some other guys like Max Maxwell and what's his name, Brent Daniels, and guys like that who have been promoting it, who have bigger audiences. But I am one of the first. Just wanted to say that. How you doing, Burton?
I'm doing extremely well. Again, thank you for having me. Since the last time we've spoke, we've had major updates, and
yeah,
I'm sure there's some people that are still, trying to figure out what it is. And so hopefully we can clear up the fog today.
All right. So I want to talk about Propstream. You guys, if you're interested in this, you can get a 7-day free trial at partner with, no, that's not it. It's propstreamjoe.com. Propstreamjoe.com. You can get a 7-day free trial. It's $97 a month. It's the best $97 a month that you'll ever spend in your real estate investing business. There's 2 tools that you need. You need a CRM, and I recommend FreedomSoft, right? But you're going to need a list provider. And Freedom's, I get this question. I'm just going to answer it right now because I get it 100 times a day. Should I get Propstream or FreedomSoft? Or what's the difference between FreedomSoft and Propstream? They're completely different. Now, FreedomSoft will give you data, but only about 10% of the data that Propstream will get you. And why you need Propstream is when you're looking at a specific house and you're doing research on it. You want the comps. You want to find out who owns it. How long have they owned it? What's the mailing address of the owner? You can get all of that data and a lot more from Propstream. Propstream is going to give you lists like liens and tax delinquents and vacants and absentee owners, high equity, low equity, free and clear. And PreProbate's a new thing that we're going to get you. So Propstream is your data friend. That's where you're going to get all your data. Your CRM, like FreedomSoft or whatever else you use, is where you manage the leads once you get them. Does that make sense? All right, cool. With that said, Burton, how about we share my screen? Would that be all right?
Yeah, let's go for it.
I'm going to open it up right here. So when you go to propstreamjoe.com like this, you see here, you're going to be taken to the page where you can get a 7-day free trial. Okay. Again, I use this every single day in my business, multiple times a day. All right. Now here's Propstream. One of the cool things that we see here is the pre-probate data, and we're going to show that in just a minute. And you have a mobile app, which I've been playing a lot with lately, Burton. What does a mobile app do?
So it's essentially what I like to call a cheat sheet on the go. So we know at times you can't take your laptop with you or your tablet with you. So what we've done is we've allowed you to take our data on the go. So the mobile app is free with your subscription. You don't pay any extra for it. You just log in using the same username and password. But you can pull up the same property details on our desktop on the mobile app. So when you're at a property, talking to the homeowner face to face, you can see their property information, their financial information, and any of the situational data like the lien information, the pre-foreclosure information. You can run comps on this mobile app. And because we know you're going to use it for driving for dollars, we've even included some driving for dollars features in there. So the ability to record your drive and the property saved along that route, skip tracing, sending postcards. And we have a unique filter called Set Filters and Drive, where you can build a list around a radius that you're in and look for properties that fit a certain category that you want.
Awesome. I love it. We should go here to the main sales page and just talk about what it does. You can identify leads so you can get lists. You can do research on properties, and you can market to your leads. Those are the three main things that you can do with Propstream. Right. And we'll show you how that actually works here in just a minute. And you get comprehensive nationwide data, property search, generate targeted leads of accurate comps. The comps are amazing. I love that. You get comps from the MLS and the county records. You can contact property owners so you could actually skip trace them if you wanted to. Automate your leads with List Automator. We're going to talk about that. That's super powerful. You can target marketing, build your team, and the mobile app, 7-day free trial. All right, go to propstreamjoe.com. Let's look at the lists that you can pull in Propstream. What's a good county that we should look at, Burton, or zip code?
Any would work, but one that I was recently focusing on was Berks County, PA would work.
How do you spell that?
Berks County. I'm from Southern California, so this is something that was brought up during a demonstration I did, and it's a pretty good county. So when you're in this county, you can go straight into our filter just to the right of the search bar.
Where is that, by the way? It's okay. So it's kind of,
I think it's in Reading, Pennsylvania. It's that market.
Okay, cool.
So as you said earlier, nationwide data. So me, a California kid, can search on the East Coast if I wanted to. And here you have it. There's 160,000 records in our database that we can essentially go into and manipulate.
Nice.
Now, one of the best things I encourage, the best practice really is right after you get your results, just immediately go into the filter just to the right of the search bar.
Yep.
And from there, you can start with any of our quick list choices. So we have 19 categories for you to identify. And essentially, these 19 categories are either a list of distressed owners or a list of potential like buyers or flippers. So you can use any of these 19 categories to identify an off-market distressed property or identify a buyer.
Oh, let me show you something, guys. You can do vacants, liens, pre-foreclosures, auctions, bank-owned, buyers, cash buyers, high equity, free and clear, bankruptcy, divorce, tax delinquents, flippers, failed listings, senior owners, vacant land, which I've been using more and more of, by the way, tired landlords, zombie properties, and pre-probates. Now, one of the things I always say to people is you should always try to find your buyers first. And the thing I like about flippers, check this out. If I click flippers, these are investors that bought a property recently, have fixed it up, and are now selling it on the MLS. Do you think those rehabbers might be looking for another property to fix up? Right? If we just look at this first one, for example, and you can look at the pictures here, you can see they've come into this house and they fixed it up. All right. And now they're selling it. Well, that investor who's fixed it up might be looking for another property soon to fix up. Here's the company that bought it. All right. And the other cool thing is you can go to MLS details and find the listing agent. I know it's kind of small and hard to see right now, but you can see here, Pete Weiner, something like that, is the listing agent of this property. He knows who that investor is that rehabbed it. And there's his phone number and there's his email address. So if you're looking for buyers and you've got a property in a certain area, you can call the agents of these properties that are listed And you can send a letter or skip trace and call the actual owner of the properties and say, hey, are you looking for more deals in this area?
We've actually even expanded that a little bit more as well in the last few months. If you go into the comparables and nearby listings section as well,
Yep.
when running comps, you also have a new category. It's right there called flip comps. It's the second box. So what you can do, there's no results now, but you might need to go maybe 2 miles out, might be a large envirment. But this does the same thing. It shows you a property that was bought and then flipped within a year span. And what's really cool about this is that you'll be able to see the purchase price of when it was bought, as well as the sell amount, the ARV, after it was listed and sold. So that's a new area that we've expanded on, essentially.
Nice. And you can look to see who the cash buyers are in that neighborhood. These are investors that have bought properties with cash. Some of them are owner occupants, some of them are investors. Yeah, but comps are amazing. So let's look at this house in particular. We can see that it's owned currently by Darnock Group. They've owned it for 4 months. So this is a flipper property, right? It's non-owner occupied. It's corporate. They bought it with cash. Cool. You can get the details about the property itself. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It's 962 square feet. All of the information from the county, the tax assessors. You can see the prior sale information. You can see that they bought it for 180.
And so this is essentially what we've done for the last 15 years is, we've taken the property data, the financial data, like the mortgage information, the tax information, and the situational data, the cash sale, the MLS details. Now you got to imagine 15 years ago, if this property owner were to have called you because they got your postcard, you didn't have this information readily in front of you at a click of a button. We did the hard work of getting the data from different providers and bringing it together. It's almost like taking a cookie and crumbling it and then getting all those crumbs and piecing that cookie back together. That's what Propstream has done for you over the last 15 years. And just recently, we added a new data set called the PreProbate data. And what this will identify is if anybody is on title that has passed away. So just like our cash transactions, our mortgage transaction, every time we get a record, we connect it to that property. And so our new one is PreProbate. So a different provider, a unique provider, we've been able to capture their data and connect it with our existing data. So when you click on any of these results here, right off the bat in property details, you'll see right there the deceased owner tab. And it'll tell you whether it's deceased owner 2. It's right there in that first area, ownership info, right next to Ralph's name. You see it down below to your right.
Deceased owner 2.
So we've been able to identify a deceased owner whose name is still on title, right? So again, this is a separate data set, but we took that information and pieced it together. So in this scenario, you can see someone has passed away. You can see the property was on market. So if you click on the MLS details, you can see that they tried to sell the property, or actually did sell. So the property was just sold recently. But these are things that we could never have seen together back in the day. And we've done the hard work of piecing that information together for you guys.
Now, some of these, are currently listed for sale. So you might not want to market to those. But, there are so many good lists here to target. I like vacants. These are properties. There's 1,000 of them that, for some reason or another, the mail is from the post office is maybe being returned because there's nobody there to receive the mail.
Absolutely.
A lot of these are vacant homes, and so you can put them into a list. You can skip trace them and call them, text them, send them letters, send the owners letters. Right.
And another thing I explain to people about our filtering where you're at right now is if you click on it, you can actually not choose a list. A lot of the times people tend to believe that a lead has to do with a list. For the last 10 years I've been working here, I've been trying to encourage people that a lead is not always a list. And what makes Propstream unique is that because we've connected the property data, the financial data, and the situational data, you can actually build whatever you'd like with that information. So like for this example here, Joe, once you're done with this, I'm going to show you guys a unique search that no one's doing because everybody's so used to grabbing a list. It's what I call the 4 golden rules. And hopefully you'll learn a little bit from that.
Yeah, let me show you my favorite list to cold call. All right. I'm looking for high equity, absentee owners, single families. All right. And I go here to ownership info. And I want somebody that's owned that rental property for at least 5 years. And because I have to skip trace them, I need to make sure they're individuals, so they're not corporate owned. And boom, just like that, I have 8,100 properties that are owned by an individual absentee owner with a lot of equity, and they've owned it for at least 5 years. If 5 years is too long, not long enough, maybe I'll do 10 years. They've owned it for at least 10 years. There you go. There's 6,100. Now, some of them might be duplicates, all right? But that's a great list that you could start cold calling and marketing to. You know they have equity. They've owned it for a long time. There's probably a lot of deferred maintenance. A good chance one of those owners are going to be a tired landlord who just wants to sell their house and get rid of it. A lot of these are free and clear too. So you could make owner financing offers to them as well. Super cool.
Absolutely. And then again, the one thing I want to show you guys is this, what I call the 4 golden rules. And we're the only system that has really thought outside the box. So remember, a lead isn't a list. It's a good starting point to choose a list and go from there. But remember, a lead is not a list. A lead is a homeowner facing some sort of situation. And these are my 4 golden rules. If you follow them, you should always find a lead in any market. So rule number 1 is, once you get your results, go into the MLS status and make sure it's off market. So go into that MLS area and make sure it's off market. Otherwise, you're going to have to deal with an agent, right? So it's first decision made on or off market.
Yeah.
The second rule is you would go into the valuation and equity info and apply a minimum amount of equity, right? Now, I say minimum because it really depends on the investment strategies you know and can implement. If you're just wholesaling and fix and flipping, you're probably going to want high equity. If you can do short sells and creative seller financing, you can do low equity. But this is always rule number 2. Make sure it's off market first. Make sure it has that minimum amount of equity you need to implement your strategy.
Good.
Now, rule number 3 are your property and ownership preferences. Propstream has so much data that we can go into the property characteristics section or ownership info right now and specify, like Joe did, whether we want to speak to an individual owned property, something that's been owned for 10 years. Okay. And then rule number 4, after you apply your ownership and property characteristics, is the homeowner situation, right? Now, rule number 4, we tend to lean on a list a little bit, right? We tend to say, look, it's off market, it has equity, it's owned for 10 years by a person. Now I need a list. That's not necessarily the case. Like for this example, let's go to property characteristics and let's use that as leverage. So what we're going to look for is property type residential single family. So we'll do single family there. And for bedrooms, we'll do a minimum of 3. And for bathroom, we'll do a maximum of 1. So while everybody's pulling a list, here are 11,000 properties that have had to share 1 bathroom for 10 years. That's a possibility of a lead. And I'll tell you right now, if you get a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom property on contract, your buyers are going to fall in love with you because they're going to want to put a second bathroom in there and get a higher ROI.
Yeah.
So this is what I call my 4 golden rules. It's looking for off-market properties with equity, with your property and owner preferences, and then that homeowner situation, which it could be property characteristics. It could be having multiple mortgages. It could be owning a property in a different state. It doesn't necessarily have to be a list. And these are what a lot of investors are overlooking because right now, if you go to quick list choices, and let's say we forced you to choose a list. So go to quick list choices, Joe, and choose, let's say, liens. Look what happens to those 11,000 properties. So go ahead. There you go. You now go down to 5 properties.
Yeah.
So out of those 11,000 properties of people having to share 1 bathroom for 10 years, only 5 of them weren't making a payment. Does that mean the other 11,000 are not interested in selling? I'll let you make that decision. So what we've done, again, the hard work, connected the property data, the financial data, and the situational data, so you can come up with things like this that no one is thinking about.
Yeah.
People that have had to share 1 bathroom.
I love that. All right. So talk about real quick. What is this PreProbate? Again, this is people that have recently deceased.
Well, we don't have the exact time frame, but what it is identifying is that there is a person on title that has passed away.
Okay.
They could have passed away months ago, years ago. We are not legally able to show you exactly when, but what it is identifying is that a deceased person is on title. Now, this gives you the ability to now go in there and identify these properties and provide your services, whether you're listing the property, helping refinance, or looking to buy the property. But not only did we tie or bring in this new record, but as Joe is doing right now, we've connected it with our other data. So you can say pre-probate, 10 years of ownership with equity, single family. Heck, you can even go into the MLS area and even look for ones that might have failed on the market because they tried to sell recently. So you could say no and status right below it. You would just choose failed.
Yeah.
So you see that status drop down. So here are the off market pre-probate properties. And yeah, you can use the status bar right there and look for anything that failed, right? So we know they tried to sell with an agent, didn't work out. Now you can come in there and be that alternative option.
There's 62 properties. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Let's talk about what are the other lists that we have here. Zombie properties. What are zombie properties?
So it's just a terminology. It's been around for a while. It's really just a pre-foreclosure that's also vacant at the same time.
Okay. Tired landlords. How do you come up with that list?
So it's a thing that we've been doing for a while. It's essentially a non-owner occupied property with a minimum years of ownership, and that being 15 years or more.
Nice.
We use 15 years because it's the 50% mark when it comes to a traditional mortgage.
Nice. Vacant land. We've been doing a lot of vacant land in rural counties, which is a great, it's not going to be 100% accurate. Sometimes it's hard for the county to tell you whether it's vacant, but it's going to get you 90% of the way there. Senior owners. Let's talk about that. What is
senior owner is either someone who's owned the property for 25 years or more. They're paying a senior citizen tax exemption, or they have a reverse mortgage.
Wow. And so do you recommend like 50% equity more on senior owners?
That would be great. Most of the times you're going to find out that some of these would obviously already have a lot of equity,
right. Yeah, so
or are free and clear. But this list can also be a list where you can add motivation, like maybe a senior owner, and go into the mortgage information at the very bottom there. And maybe a senior owner with 1 or 2 mortgages, which is the first drop-down menu, right? Already on a fixed income, and you still have a 1 or 2 mortgages on the property. That could be a reason to want to sell, get the proceeds, and go to something more affordable. I've seen clever searches, like someone went into the property characteristics the other day, and in our property characteristics at the very bottom right, there's numbers of stories. So senior owners and a minimum 2-story building was a good search I saw. I thought that was clever because they were looking for anybody that was tired of going up and down, up and down. So again, we've connected the data with the property data and the financial data, so we can do what we're doing right now. Senior owner with 2 mortgages and has to walk up and down the flight of stairs. And that could be the many reasons as to why they want to sell.
So, okay, what are the, and I don't know if you can answer this for me, I'll ask it anyway though, but what are the monthly download limits that you can get?
You can get, so on your basic subscription, it's 10,000 records every month, but the max that you can get, if you're willing to get that package, is 100,000 records on a month-to-month basis.
Gosh, so even at the minimum one of 10,000 a month, that's a month. That's a penny, 1 penny per download. All right, guys. I mean, I don't know. I used to get my leads from ListSource.
Oh, whew, yeah.
And I don't know if I can mention them, but oh my gosh, it's like 20 cents to 30 cents, right? So, people have to charge for some things, but you've got failed listings, flippers, tax delinquencies, divorce, bankruptcies. This is amazing. Really good. I was just looking at a property right before we did this podcast on Carroll Street in Savannah, Georgia. All right. And I found this property on Redfin. I just want to show you guys. Well, you're not going to be able to see it. Oh, let me copy it here. Okay. I'll explain the story here and why I like Propstream so much. So I was looking at this property in Savannah, Georgia. We wanted to make them an offer. All right. It has been listed for $108,000. And it's been on the market for 352 days, built in 1975. And I tried calling the realtor just to see what's going on with this property. Why hasn't it sold yet? Well, it hasn't sold yet because it needs a lot of work. And no, only an investor would probably buy this, and they're probably asking too much, right? So one of the things I like to look at is, looking in here at Propstream. Guess what? You can see who owns it. It's a bank. No wonder, right? No wonder the bank is not they're not desperate and motivated to sell it. Who knows? They may even be keeping it on their books because they can write it off as a loss. I don't know how the banks look at this stuff, but no wonder no one's gone in to clean it up or fix it up. It's a bank-owned property. You can see it's a corporate-owned property. You can sometimes see in here the foreclosure history, depending on the county. A lot of this data that Propstream gets is limited based on what the county makes available. But you can see it was last sold in 2005. And the previous owner was Carlton.
The transaction history will show you more information too. So mortgage and there you go.
Oh yeah, here it is. Mortgage and transaction history.
There you go. So you can see more of that information as well. So they bought it, like you said, 15 years ago. So they've owned, there's no real rush for them to sell at any low price. They own this property outright. So
it's interesting though. The previous owner was, if I go to property details, Durham Charlton. So I think what might have happened is they maybe bought it with cash, put a mortgage on it, maybe a private mortgage. Somehow, I don't know, got into the bank. But here we go. If we wanted to contact the bank, there's the address. If we wanted to send the bank a letter, right? You can go here into MLS details and see who the listing agent is. This is so cool. There's the phone number of the listing agent. Because here at Propstream, I know the agent is David Thomas, but guess what? I can't find his phone number anywhere on here. For whatever reason, realtors just don't like to talk to people. They don't like to be talked to. This is a buyer's agent. A lot of times Redfin, Zillow, they will only give you the contact information of the buyer's agent who's paying them to get a spot on those pages, right? So it's really hard to find the property detail history, to find who the listing agent is. But guess what? If you copy and paste this address into Propstream, this is where I use it 99% of the time. I can see the history of the property. I can see who the agent is. I've got 2 different phone numbers here. And guess what else? I get the email for the agent. So I can email the agent and say, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about this property? I'd be interested in it. I could go to comps. Let's say now I'm looking at this property. I'm ready to make a cash offer. It automatically, it might be hard to see here, but it automatically puts a date range of a year in here. And it gives me plus or minus, 25, 35% square foot and a half-mile radius. And look at these comps that I get. And I can sort this by price, and I can see the low-end comps here. And I know I'm going to need to be in that price range. If I want more comps, I just make the range distance a little bigger, maybe 1 mile. Now I have 18 comps. Sort it by amount. And there you go. I can see, well, I'm going to probably need to be, they're asking 108, right? 108, but I'm looking at sold comps here for properties that need work. I'm going to need to be in around $50,000, $60,000 to make this work. Once I fix it up, I can sort it the other way. I might be able to sell it for 160, 150 fixed up. That's the powerful thing about these comps. And you can get public records or MLS or both comps, right?
Absolutely.
Love it. All right. There's another feature I want to talk about. Is that all right? I'm kind of stealing your thunder, Burton.
Oh, no. I mean, you've learned a lot. So this is great that everybody gets to see how you're actually using it. So you're not stealing anything. I'm actually proud of you.
Let's say I get that property under contract, and I know it's right there in the center of the map. And maybe, you can show me even a better way to do this. And I want to know, all right, well, let's say I get it under contract, and I want to know who are the other investors that own property in that neighborhood. Guess what? I'm going to click on this little draw icon here. And I'm just going to start clicking. You can kind of see the map starting to shade in my area. All right, I'm going to click search. And what it's going to do is it's going to search for all the property owners right there in that area. And I need to reset this. All right, there's 1,900 records in that area I just shaded. All right, but I want to know who are the investors that bought property in the last year. So it's real simple. I'm going to go to owner occupied no. ownership info, max 1. Maybe there's a better way to do this, but here we go. Boom. There are absentee owners, owned it 1 year or less, 31 investors that have purchased properties in that area. I don't know if they bought with cash or with a loan. It doesn't matter. And so I can now highlight all of them, add them to a list, skip trace them, get their phone numbers, get their addresses. I can send them letters. Hey, I got another property in the area. Are you looking to buy another deal? Right. And the other cool thing is I can go here also. Let me reset that. And sometimes I might even get the flippers. Now there's none in that area, right? But I can find, I can.
Sometimes you can find rental listings in there too. If you go to quick list choices and keep it blank, and then go to MLS status.
Okay.
And look for anything listed, usually under 10,000. So if you go to max 10,000 for listing amount, you can sometimes catch rental listings.
Oh,
so there you go.
That.
So you can see where it says sold price. Actually,
well, look
there
at
you
this.
Go to the MLS details, and you'll see the rental prices.
Here is
there.
Iona. I don't know how to pronounce her name. And there's her phone number. So she is maybe a leasing agent. So she helped this landlord find a tenant, or she listed the property to sell.
And what's cool about it too is like, because it came from the MLS, you get to see like on the first area of the MLS details, you get to see the sell amount or the rent amount. So this property is being rent for $825. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. And you can sometimes see the photos of what it looks like when it's being rented. So now I know, okay, if I want to rent a property in this neighborhood and it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, if I can make it look like this property, it can rent for $825 a month, just like this property. So it gives you kind of a great comparison. So
and who am I going to call? Who am I going to call to help me find the tenant?
There you go. So
Iona Mitchell, and she might even know who the landlord is, who owns this property. This property owner is Richard Frazier, and this is their address. And here's the other cool thing. We didn't even talk about this. If I want to see how many other properties that Richard Frazier owns, I can click on linked properties. I can see that he owns 4 other properties. He's got about loan. This is crazy. He owns about 166, has about $255,000 in equity. I can see the other properties that he owns, and I can know this is an active investor.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So like now I can go and I can contact these agents or these owners and, contact them about the property. Oh, I just lost everything. Shoot. I just cleared out my filter. Let me show you guys one other thing that I really like, and I don't want to get too technically involved, but I'm going to do my best to show you the List Automator. All right. Now explain what the List Automator is, Burton, while I pull this up.
So for the last 15 years, we've been obviously collecting data. There was one thing that we discovered that was just common. It's still happening today. An investor will buy a list from any provider, and let's say 1,000 properties are on this list. Then they'll market to this list. So that includes skip tracing that 1,000 properties and then setting postcards for the next 3 to 4 months. Well, 2 things are happening. A, the list that you built with that said criteria that you want, more records are going to keep hitting that provider over the next few days, over the next few weeks after you initially built your list. So List Automator can notify you every time a new record shows up with your list's criteria. So that's the important part. You never have to search the list again to essentially know what the new records are. The second important part is that the properties that you did save with that said criteria will now be monitored every day going forward. And if at any point, any of those properties that you save no longer meet your criteria, we actually take them out of your marketing list, right? So if you're asking for off-market properties and you have 1,000 off-market properties, and next Monday when you log in, 30 of them go on market, we remove the 30 from your list of 1,000. So you don't send 1,000 postcards. You send 970 postcards next Monday. It saves you time. It saves you money. And that's what List Automator does.
Yep. I'm going to show you guys something here that is super awesome. Right.
You're showing. Okay. Another thing too it does that Joe's going to show you is our import feature. So if you want our data on top of any external provider's list to make better decisions, you can definitely do that. And Joe's going to show you a live example right now.
All right. So One of the things I like to target are properties that have been on the MLS for over 60 days. And so what I did is I went into Savannah. This is where we were just earlier today, looking for some deals. I looked for houses priced between 50 to 100, houses only, okay, 2+ bedrooms. I don't care about size or baths. And I went right here to time on Redfin, more than 60 days, okay? And I scrolled down. I also don't want new construction. So I said they had to have been built before 2017. Now, the market is white hot right now, okay? We get it. But still, there are 234 homes in this area, and I zoomed out or you can zoom in or zoom out to get more or less, that haven't sold yet. They've been on the market for 60 days or more. Why is that? Well, then probably overpriced. What if I could send a letter or an email to the owners or call the owners or the realtors? I could send an email to the realtors. I could send a letter to the owner saying, hey, this house that you have right now for $309,900 looks like a beautiful house. What if I could get you your price of $309,900? Would you consider something like seller financing or lease purchase? Okay. This house, the market is white hot. Why has this thing been on the market for 70 days and not sell yet? Well, it went back on the market due to no fault of the seller. All right. So maybe they're ready to sell, maybe they can sell it probably pretty quickly again. So now what do? You have this list of 234 homes. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here of Redfin, and I'm going to click download all, and it's going to download all of those properties into a spreadsheet, but it's only going to give me the address of the property and maybe the list price and the square footage and beds and baths. I don't have any information on the owner. I don't have any information on which ones, how much is owed on the properties. What, does it have a lot of equity or which ones don't? And so what I did is I have here in this spreadsheet what I just downloaded from Redfin. And you can see here, we have the address, the city, state, zip of the property. I don't know the owner's address or information, just the property address information, the list price of the property, the beds, the baths, square footage, and all of that stuff. Well, what if I could go here to Propstream and help me out here to make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, Burton?
Yeah.
I'm going to go here to my properties.
Correct.
I'm going to go to import list here. This might take a minute. I'm using a lot of bandwidth for this presentation here. So I'm going to do import list. Mm-hmm. Now I need to put them into a template.
Yes. So you'll download one of our 3 templates.
I'm going to download one of these templates here. And you can't see this, but it's just it's another template that is in Microsoft Excel. I'm just going to take the data from this spreadsheet right here. I'm just going to copy and paste the address, city, state, zip of all of these properties. I'm going to go to the bottom. All right, copy those addresses. I'm going to paste them into my spreadsheet right here. All right, I just have to clean the formatting up a little bit. I wish I could show this to you, but trust me on this here, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right. So now I'm going to save this. I'm going to save it. All right. Now I have it saved in another spreadsheet. Now I'm going to click choose file. And I'm going to choose that file I just saved. And I'm going to create a new one. Let's just call this Demo Georgia. Save. That's going to take a minute, but what it's doing is it's importing in those. How many records did I have? 234 records. It's importing them into Propstream right now. And here's the crazy thing when you see this. It's going to show me all of the ones that are vacant, that are free and clear. All right, so there it goes. The 202 properties were saved. So some of them didn't have complete addresses or something. 32 of them failed. Okay? Now I could download a report if I wanted to. But now I'm going to go here to my marketing lists. And it was called Demo Georgia. There it is. All right, look at this. Check this out. This is crazy. So of the 202 properties that have been on the market now for over 60 days, I can see here on this table here, and I can download this into a spreadsheet, I can find the owner's name, Libby, Peck, Patricia, whatever. I can see the mailing address of the owner, so I can see which ones of these are absentee owners, which ones are vacant. I can scroll over. I can see the property information from the county records, the last time it sold, what it sold for last time, which ones are free and clear. I can see the remaining balance of any open loans. Some of these are showing as fail. That they just haven't been updated yet, or that's from a year ago.
And a little bit of what you did too is you pulled some for sell by owners, which we don't collect.
Oh, that's right.
So that you're going to see some of them there. But as you can see at the very top, we've even provided categories for you. So you'll see 10 categories that you can click on and just immediately isolate just that category.
Right.
So like if you don't do negative equity, you can click on those 5 negative equity and just immediately delete them or move them into a different marketing list and give them to someone else who can.
Or what if you send marketing to all of the low equity and negative equities and offer them a subject to or a lease option or something like that, right? What if you download all the free and clears right here? You could download all of the free and clears. And let me just show you, this is so cool. You could take that and you could export it, or you could do a new campaign. You could click on new campaign right here. You could skip trace them or start a postcard campaign to them.
And every one of those boxes at the top can also be refined. Like you mentioned sub 2. So you see the low equity box and that little icon at the top. If you click on that, it allows you to add more. So you literally have our data. So I could say low equity, go into the mortgage information and say must have 1 mortgage so we can actually do a sub 2 on it, right? So there you go. And then you hit apply at the bottom. Or 2, and now we're going to show you how many of your low equity property that you just imported. Remember, you didn't know anything about these properties, but you just imported it, and now 43 of your low equity properties you knew nothing about have 1 or 2 mortgages that you can now do your sub 2 on.
Yeah, and so you could also go in and say, all right, from these, show me all the ones that are absentee owners,
individually owned, certain equity. Yeah, all of that stuff can be
owned it for at least 3 years or whatever you want to put on there. Click apply. Now it's brought it down to 9, right? But again, here's the cool thing, guys. You can take this list now of free and clear homes. You can highlight all of them, export it into a spreadsheet, and now you can send. And guys, I've done. If you're doing lease options or owner financing or subject twos, guys, this is killer. It works like crazy. You can send the owners a letter saying, hey, my name is Joe. I'm an investor. I'm looking to buy more properties in the Walterboro area of South Carolina there. I'd like to make an offer to buy your house at 474 Hampton Street, but I would like to rent it for a year or so first. Or you could say, I'd like to buy your house and pay you, whatever they're asking for, $399,000 for this house. But if I could offer you $399,000 for the house, would you be willing to owner finance or lease purchase? Okay. You could also send a letter that we've sent, something like this. This works really, really well. It's a handwritten yellow letter from my wife. Hi, my name is Victoria. My husband and I are looking for a property that we can lease for a year or 2 and then buy. If you're interested, please call me. Okay. Now somebody's freaking out like, oh my gosh, you're going behind the sign or you're going around the sign or whatever. No, listen, I put there on the letter, listen, if your house is listed with an agent, please disregard this letter or give this letter to them. All right. And a lot of times you're going to get the phone numbers and email addresses of the realtors in here as well. So when you export this out, there's a tool that I like to use called gmass.co. I can download those emails of all those realtors and send them an email. Hey, I see that you have this property at, and it merges in the address. If I could get them their asking price, would they consider something creative like seller financing or lease purchase? All right. And GMAS will send those emails. So I know I'm getting techie and advanced here, but like, this is why I get excited about Propstream, because I love marketing. I love data, and this makes it so much easier, and you can go in here and do a postcard campaign, for example, and choose from any one of these postcards. And I have a postcard that I created here. It's just a handwritten postcard. And it doesn't have any graphics on it. Okay. And it says, hey, seller's name. My name is Bob, and I'd like to buy your house at address. Cool. Anything else, Burton? Did I forget, or am I talking?
No, I honestly don't think we have enough time to ever go over what Propstream can ultimately offer at its full capacity. There's so much things that it can do, from the small things to, stacking data, to skip tracing, to marketing, to the list automator, the import feature, the mobile app. I mean, like, we could be here for a full day and it still wouldn't be enough. But I think what we've shown so far is a substantial amount to show, the power of Propstream, what we've done on the back end. And because of the hard work of us connecting the data that nobody wanted to do 15 years ago, that's where we're at today, where you can come up with these amazing strategies, or just think of certain things to identify rent values, what buyers are willing to pay for, ARV, and et cetera. So thank you for showing. Thanks for having me, and thank you for allowing us to show this to your audience, Joe.
We got some good comments here from folks. This is somebody, I don't know your name, sorry, but it says, I'm watching you gentlemen live from Italy. I love it. It's 9 p.m. here. I love Propstream. My VA runs comps for me. Your training videos helped me so much. This is what I've done this many times. Traveled in an RV or in Europe for months at a time. And when you're traveling around the world, you need one place that you can go to get data. And you need places where your VAs can go and get the data for you and do this work for you. Somebody is asking here, and I can't put it up, if Propstream is better than a competitor. I'm not going to put up the competitor's name, but yes, the answer is yes. This other person says Propstream gives you everything to do your deal analysis, comps, shows current balance, equity in the property. Highly, highly recommend. Joe, great idea. Listing agent with cash buyers. Ozzy says, I love Propstream. I use it right here at home, Canada. Do you provide data from Canada, or is he saying he's from Canada?
No, he's from Canada, using our data to buy properties in the US, it looks like.
Yeah. So you don't do data in Canada or any other country?
No, it's really hard. We've actually looked into it. It's not an easy task because their privacy laws are a lot more stricter than ours.
Yeah.
So just to collect data there is really, really, really rough. But
he's virtually doing
hopefully
deals.
One day we might be global, but it's a matter of just the politics and logistics of it all.
I love it. He's doing deals virtually in Canada, in the US. He's buying properties left and right here in the States. Awesome. Somebody else has a deal they want to partner with on 600 acres. If it's a good deal, shoot me an email, joe@joemccall.com. Alan, what's up, Burton?
Hey, Alan, what's going on? Right. It's good to see him.
Somebody else is asking about skip tracing. Is their skip tracing good as another competitor? Talk about your skip tracing. Where do you get the data from? Is it good? How good is it?
Well, that's a great question. So we get our data from 6 providers. So it's a multitude of different providers that we're collecting our data from. I can't name their name only because of our pricing. We have such ridiculous pricing. It's 12 cents if you get results, right? So because of that, I can't mention their name. It just would cause conflicts with our other accounts. But in terms of accuracy, I don't give a percentage, or I'm not here to sell. So accuracy, I can never give you a number on. The hit rate is really high. You're going to get like an 80, 90% plus when it comes to hit rate. Hit rate means the return of contact information. As for the accuracy, I don't answer that. We don't answer that is because we can't control the external variables that happen to that phone number. So like, for example, someone might write out an application with the phone number and email on January, and that phone number and email is accurate and working in January. But then they come into a bankruptcy, or they go into pre-foreclosure in June, a few months later. Well, when you skip trace that property owner, you're getting the phone number from January. But because so many things have happened since then, like bankruptcy, the pre-foreclosure, maybe they're not paying their bill anymore.
Well, they get tired of getting calls from debt collectors.
Exactly. So you get wrong phone numbers. You get people that stop paying their phone bill because people keep calling them. So we never give an answer to accuracy. But I will say from personal experience, accuracy is actually governed by the lists that you skip trace. So for example, if you skip trace a list of cash buyers versus a list of pre-foreclosures, you're bound to get more answers on the cash buyers list because they're people with money.
Uh-oh. We lose Burton. Oh, you're back. You're back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, skip tracing accuracy, we don't give you an answer, but external variables will play a factor, like the type of list that you're skip tracing. And usually the higher the distress list, like if it's pre-foreclosure or bankruptcy, the higher of disconnected numbers you're going to get, or people saying you got the wrong phone number. It's just the name of the game.
Good. Scott, thank you. Great stuff. Joe and Burton, he says.
Thank you, Scott.
Appreciate it. All right, guys. Hey, listen, I hope we didn't dive too deep and overwhelm you guys with all the details and exciting things that Propstream does. I use it literally a dozen times a day, and my students use it. It's a great tool. Go check it out, propstreamjoe.com. You get a 7-day free trial. And thank you, Burton, for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. And we'll be back to show you guys some new features coming up this year. So thank you, guys.
Cool. All right. We'll see you all later, everybody. Bye-bye.